Hey everyone, it's Son of a Gun Gourmet. Today, I'm going to be preparing an Elder Scrolls inspired rustic feast. I hope you enjoy. Some of the recipes I'll be making are from the Elder Scrolls Cookbook, although a few of the recipes have been altered slightly. First, I'll be putting together the Nord spices, which I will be using for the braided bread. In a bowl, you're going to combine 1.5 tablespoons of cardamom, 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 of a teaspoon of clove, and 1/8 a teaspoon of black pepper. For the braided bread, I've started by toasting some pumpkin seeds and some almonds, and melting 2 tablespoons of butter. In a bowl, you're going to add 1 cup of almond milk, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, your melted butter, 2 teaspoons of instant yeast, 1 teaspoon of Nord spice, all of your dried fruit, 1 egg, and whisk together. Then you're going to add 3 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 cups of whole wheat flour. Fold the ingredients together until they form a dough. Turn the dough out onto a floured table and knead the dough. Until it gets a springy texture. Cover it and let it sit for an hour at room temperature. After an hour, you're going to take out your dough and cut it into 3 even pieces. Roll each piece until they're about 1 inch thick. Slightly wet one end of the dough and pinch the ends together. Now braid together your dough. Place the dough onto a baking tray and cover and let sit for an hour at room temperature. After an hour, brush your dough with a coat of egg wash. Then bake in a preheated oven at 350 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. Now to get started on the duck. I'm saving the zest for later, and then I'm going to slice up half an orange for the duck. And I'm going to peel 5 cloves of garlic. Then slice half a lemon. Begin by trimming off any excess fat on your duck. And score the fat on the breasts. Make sure not to go too deep. Season your duck with salt and pepper. Then stuff with orange, lemon, and garlic. Truss your duck to seal in the flavor. We're going to set this aside while we prepare the stuffing. Here I've already prepared the bread and the mirepoix, which I've added mushrooms to. In a hot pan, melt a 1/4 cup of butter. Then add your mirepoix. Season with salt. And add 1/2 cup of fresh cranberries. Then add a 1/4 bunch each of thyme, sage, and rosemary, all chopped. Cook until tender, and then add 1 cup of chicken stock. After you bring the ingredients to a boil, add it to your bread. Mix all the ingredients together. Add all the ingredients to a loaf pan and cover with tin foil. Now I'm going to bake the duck and the stuffing together at 350. And now to get started on the snowberry sauce. In a pot, add 12 ounces of cranberries, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of Nord spice, orange zest, 1 cup of water, and 2 tablespoons of red wine. Bring to a boil and then let simmer until all the cranberries have burst. Now we're going to make the glaze for the duck. In a small bowl, mix together 1 tablespoon of honey and 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Pull out your duck that's been cooking for about an hour. And coat with the glaze. Repeat this process again after another half an hour of cooking. Check the temperature of the duck and bake it until it reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit. At this point, you could remove the tinfoil from the stuffing to brown it. While those are finishing cooking, you could get your roasted butternut squash ready. You're going to dice your butternut squash and add 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, a pinch of salt, and a pinch of nutmeg. Mix all the ingredients together and lay out on a baking tray. Remove your stuffing from the oven and replace with the butternut squash. You can also take the duck out of the oven if it's ready. Now let's make the spiced wine. Pour 750 milliliters of red wine into a pot. Squeeze in 1/2 an orange. Add a cinnamon stick, 1/2 a star anise, and 2 cloves. Bring to a boil, turn off the heat, and then let it cool. Once cooled, stir in a 1/4 cup of honey and strain out the ingredients. After the squash is roasted for about half an hour, it should be ready. And now it's time to enjoy this Elder Scrolls themed feast. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe.